Well, now that the Albanese government has been in place for more than a year, there is one word constantly emerging: crisis. There's an energy crisis. I alluded to that last night. There's a crisis in relation to this voice referendum. The nation is divided at a time when we need unity. We don't need a referendum or another voice. There's an aged care crisis. Election promises haven't been delivered. Of course, there's a crisis in education, which they think can be solved with more money. There's a crisis in debt. There's a crisis in vaccination, where police and teachers still can't get jobs if they're not vaccinated. But can there be a greater crisis than the twin fear that in this rich country, people either can't get a roof over their head or can't afford now the roof they already have? This is a housing crisis, deep and enduring. It was only in April that the government's chief housing forecaster, the National Housing Finance and Investment Corporation, issued a dire warning. High interest rates, soaring immigration, and community opposition to new homes means Australia is facing a shortfall of 106,000 dwellings by 2027, which is virtually tomorrow. And they say the shortfall could reach 175,000. Now, you have to ask yourself, what do those figures mean? Well, because homes don't just contain one person, this means we've got a shortfall of bedrooms and kitchens for about 450,000 Australians. Now, and that's equal to the combined population of the New South Wales Central Coast and the Victorian regional city of Bendigo put together. Then you've got the question of price. People in metropolitan Australia can't get much for $500,000, but the banks want a 20% deposit. Who's got $100,000 lying around for a deposit on a home? Then take our young people just out of university. They may not be able to live at home, so they're renting. And they've got to pay off a HECS debt. It's now called HELP, an appropriate word. How does a young person pay off his or her HECS debt, pay rent, and save for a deposit? It can't happen. But the government never stop attacking you for money. So the HELP debt is indexed to inflation. So these poor buggers just out of university, the debt keeps climbing as inflation keeps climbing. And government will tell you, oh, we care about young people, when all they're doing is burying them in debt. There should be a freeze on student loan indexation immediately. Then you've got migration and population. The net overseas migration, net, in the next 5 years, you ready for it? Forecast to be almost 1.8 million. So the total home shortage by 2028, that's round the corner, isn't it, 5 years, could well be, according to some forecasters, 252,000. The Housing Industry Affordability Index says the dream of home ownership will be out of the reach for more and more Australians. I've seen nothing from government that is realistically addressing this issue.